faithful Niner Empire. What's good? What's good? What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. And welcome back. I appreciate everyone who's tuning in to this episode of What's Good with your host, yours truly, Jay in the Bay. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel, the same name, Jay in the Bay. Check me out on IG, Twitter, same handle, same name. And shout out to the 49ers Cutback crew. And make sure you subscribe to them as well. But I'm still on a high from last week, faithful. Our first home game in more than a year, about a year and a few weeks. And the last home game we actually won was versus the Rams. So how fitting. Division rival, huge game at home. Definitely a game we had to win. And we not only won that game, we dominated that game. So I think expectations are high right now for the 49ers. I think we obviously got to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got to fly down to Jacksonville. It's the East Coast trip, early 10 a.m. start on the Pacific time. And that's usually a tough road for West Coast teams to fly over to the East Coast. So that's already a disadvantage for the 49ers. But I think the mantra of this team should be, can the 49ers maintain the standard? And the standard is what we do well, running the football, winning the time of possession, and just playing disciplined football. Can the 49ers maintain that? And can we be consistent in that area? And I think if we can, we should be able to beat this Jacksonville Jaguars team, no questions asked. You may be asking yourself, now, who are the Jacksonville Jaguars? Well, they're a 2-7 team. They're led by a rookie quarterback, a rookie head coach, and Urban Meyer. They've only won 2 games so far out of 7 this year, out of 9 games so far this year. So they're 2-7. And the only home games they've won have been against Miami Dolphins, and they beat the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Buffalo Bills are a pretty good team, but what did Jacksonville do well in that game against Buffalo? They got after Josh Allen. They had 4 sacks, tons of hurries and quarterback pressures, and they also forced 2 interceptions. So the 49ers will have to be able to protect Jimmy G. We've seen what Jimmy can do when he has a clean pocket and play disciplined football. And we have to be consistent in those areas. And I think if we do that, we can definitely beat this Jacksonville Jaguars team. The Jaguars love to run the ball. That is something they do well. That's pretty much the only thing on offense they do well. They run the ball. They're in the top 10 as far as rushing yards per game. They're led by running back James Robinson, who is a pretty good running back. And we've struggled so far this year against the run. So that's definitely going to be a point of emphasis for this defense. You got to slow down the running game and make Jacksonville Jaguars offense one-dimensional. Make them throw the ball. Obviously, that helps with our D-line and their pass rush. But I'm looking forward to this game. And as far as the Jaguars passing attack, it's one of the worst in the NFL as far as passing yards. And also as far as points scored, the only team who scores more points per game than the Jaguars are the Houston Texans. So that's pretty bad. They're one of the worst teams as far as points scored. I think they only average about 14 points scored per game so far through the first 9 games. So they run the ball great, and that's about it. Terrible passing game, and they don't score many points. So I like the 49ers' chances in this game, but let's get into the 5 big things for this game, for a 49er victory.
4, 3, 2, 1.
5 big things.
All right, so number 1 is time of possession. We saw what that does for this team last week against the LA Rams. I believe the 49ers held the ball for 39 minutes, I believe. Usually when teams do that, they're able to control the game, control the tempo, control the clock. And not only is the offense converting third downs, moving the ball down the field, but we're also keeping the opposing offense off the field. And usually that leads to a victory Sunday. So the 49ers need to obviously establish the running game. I love that we ran the ball 44 times last week. Am I expecting that to continue going forward? Maybe not 44, but it should be at least 35 to 40 at least. I think that's where this team is at its best when we're running the ball, moving the ball down the field, and converting those third downs and making sure we are score when we're in the red zone. That's most important. So time of possession is very key against this game. I looked at the weather. It's going to be nice 74-degree weather day. And the 49ers, if we're able to win this game, one key will be time of possession. Number 2, third down efficiency. Now, this goes for the offense and the defense. Let's start off on the defensive side of the ball. Very important. The 49ers defense did a good job last week against the Rams and not allowing them to convert third downs. The Rams offense were not able to get in the groove, get in the rhythm, because there were a lot of 3 and outs, and the Rams weren't able to convert on those third downs. So kudos to D'Amico Ryans and the 49ers defense. Now let's switch over to offense. We have to continue to convert those third downs. And Jimmy G was great last week. And also the last 3 weeks, he's been pretty good. But what's impressed me most about Jimmy G is his accuracy, especially on third downs. There's definitely been some tight windows where Jimmy G has had to throw the ball in between defenders to get his receiver the ball. And he's made some great throws on third down. And we need to continue to see that against this Jacksonville Jaguars defense. One thing the Jacksonville Jaguars do well, they have Joshua Allen, defensive end. I think he's listed as an outside linebacker, but he'll make his money in this league by rushing the passer. He already has 5.5 sacks, so that will be a player that the 49ers need to account for. And especially on third downs when they're in passing situations, make sure you watch out for Joshua Allen, because he could change the game by getting after Jimmy G. So we got to be efficient on third down. 49ers run D. Now, one of the things that the Jags do well, they love to run the ball. James Robinson is a pretty good running back, and we struggled so far this year in stopping the run. I believe we are bottom 5 in yards allowed. Hopefully this improves throughout the rest of the year. We're going to need it to. But we have to slow down the run and make this Jaguars offense one-dimensional. If we can do that, make Trevor Lawrence throw the ball to beat us, that'll allow our defensive linemen to rush the passer, and our secondary will be more ready for the passing game. But first things first, you got to slow down that running game and make this Jaguars offense one-dimensional. Jimmy G, that's my quarterback. The last 3 games, I believe the last 2 games, besides the Rams game, Jimmy G has thrown for 2 touchdowns in each game. Hopefully we can make that a trend. Hopefully he can throw for at least 2 touchdowns in this game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he could throw for more. In 2 out of those 3 games, he's also thrown for more than 300 passing yards. Jimmy G, when he's accurate with the ball, he can be a pretty solid quarterback in the NFL. I love what I've seen from him, especially with his accuracy and being very efficient on third down, making the right reads, getting the ball to his receivers. But none of this is possible. None of this is possible, Jimmy G's effectiveness, without a solid offensive line blocking in front of him. We've seen it. When Jimmy G has a clean pocket to throw from, he can make the correct reads, and he can get the ball to his wide receiver. So this team has been successful 2 out of the last 3 weeks, and a huge part of it is Jimmy G. All right, number 5, limit and create turnovers. We started really, really bad in this area, especially on the defensive side of the ball earlier on in the season. Greenlaw had that pick 6 against Detroit, and then we didn't have a turnover for, the next month or so. Josh Norman had a forced fumble. And then the last 2 to 3 weeks, we've done pretty well in creating turnovers. We had but 2 against the Rams. I believe we had a few against Chicago, and I believe we had 1 against Arizona. But we need to continue doing that, creating turnovers. Not only does this limit the offense from scoring down the field, also we give our offense extra opportunities to move the ball down the field. The 49ers offense did capitalize on those Rams turnovers last week. The 2 turnovers we had, we converted those turnovers into touchdowns. So, and Jimmy Ward, I mean, this defense missed Jimmy Ward. I know Jimmy Ward is not known for getting interceptions. He doesn't have that many in his career. But Jimmy Ward, he's a veteran. He knows the playbook inside and out. He knows everyone else's responsibility. And he helps Talanoa Hufanga, the rookie, who's playing beside him. So for the defensive side of the ball, create turnovers. Trevor Lawrence has turned the ball over a lot this year as far as interceptions. I believe he has somewhere between 8 to 10 interceptions. So he is prone to turn over the ball. I think the 49ers can get a couple on Sunday. And as far as the offense, play disciplined football. Don't fumble the ball. Let's make sure we catch the ball. And Jimmy G, don't throw any interceptions. He's done pretty well with that the last few weeks. And we know it. If we're able to limit our turnovers on offense and create turnovers on defense, it'll definitely lead to a victory Sunday.
Fade Away Jay.
All right. Now it's time for Fade Away Jay. As I mentioned before in the video, the 49ers have to fly down to good old Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. The Jaguars are 2-7. Their only home games, their only games they've won, I should say, are at home. That was against Miami and Buffalo Bills. I think we can win this game as long as we protect Jimmy G, give him time in the pocket, establish the running game, and then we create some turnovers against Trevor Lawrence and this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. They love to run the ball, so that's going to be something that we're going to have to stop. And for whatever reason, last week the Rams decided not to run the ball. I don't know why. They say McVay's a genius, but hey, for whatever reason he decided not to run the ball. I think Urban Meyer will run the ball. And I think our defense will be tested as far as the running game. And we're going to have to step up, that's for sure. But I like the 49ers' chances. I'm hoping we can win, 2 games in a row. That would be amazing for this team. I think we haven't won 2 games in a row since the first 2 weeks of the year. But I like the Niners' chances in this game. I think we'll win this game by a score of 24-14. Shocker. I'm picking the Niners to win. But yeah, I think the Niners will win this game 24-14. Looking forward to the game. Great weather. That won't be an issue. And I appreciate everyone watching this episode. Make sure you subscribe to Jay and the Bay on YouTube. Check me out on IG, Twitter, and shout out to the 49ers Cutback. Thanks for watching, and go Niners. You got this, baby.